In my recent Mazda CX-30 review, yes, the one which we filmed under the hot Spanish sun, I said Mazda probably never planned to make that compact crossover. Kia admits it from the very start. We never set out to do a crossover, says Kia. And then during the Ceed project, we discovered that we could do a fourth body style, which became the Xceed. So let's see now, how's the car they never set out to make.
KIA Xceed is a crossover based on the popular Ceed hatchback. From the back, it looks like a lovechild of the Ceed and the Sportage. The Xceed is 8.5 cm longer than the Ceed, it's got 3.5 cm more ground clearance, and the boot is 30 liters bigger. However, besides more headroom in the front, the rest of the interior space is similar. Looking at the competition, the Xceed is larger than the Toyota CHR and bang on the same as the Mazda CX-30. Kia also mentions premium competition, such as BMW X2. Yes, in terms of dimensions, they are similar, and taking into account Kia's driver aids and multimedia, the Xceed enters the market ready to rock and roll.
Seeing these days how everybody wants to play the crossover game, I often wonder who would buy a car like this and why. It uses more fuel than the hatchback, it's usually not much more practical, if at all. There is no all-wheel drive option, but either I'm getting old or Kia decided to target the whinging car journalist segment, because I can't find much wrong with this car. Don't worry, there are plenty of minor annoyances and I will get to them, but generally speaking, this is a decent car. The boot capacity is 426 liters. Power tailgate is available on higher trim models or as a part of a €1,600 exclusive pack in Germany. In Poland, it's available only on the top trim car, and that's the first problem.
Inside the boot there is a 12-volt socket, 2 shopping bag hooks, and double floor under which you can store the parcel shelf. There is a place for a mini spare, which we get as standard in Poland, but in some markets a tire repair kit may be standard. The seats split 40-20-40, but only on higher trim models.
Kia Xceed has higher ground clearance than the standard Ceed and is also slightly taller, making it easier to get in. However, as far as the interior space is concerned here in the back, there isn't really a massive difference. With the driver's seat set to my driving position, I can barely fit a backpack behind it. Foot space is limited as well. Regardless of the trim level, there are no USB ports in the back or even a 12-volt socket. I expect kids will be traveling here with their gadgets, and how are they going to charge them? Run a cable from the front?
On the plus side, there is an armrest with cup holders and a place for bottles in the door bins. The ISOFIX points are concealed under spring-loaded flaps, so you won't have the usual plastic covers rattling in the door bins or in the glove box. Also, the seat belts don't get caught when putting the seats back up, and also the finish on the sides is soft-ish, so the buckles don't rattle.
In the front, there is clearly more headroom than in the Ceed, and that's the main difference. There is also this new large infotainment system screen. This one still runs the old OS, but Western Europe should be getting the UVO already with the UVO app, which lets you remotely plan your journey, check the vehicle status, and much more. If UVO is still unavailable in your market, but you're getting this 10.25-inch screen, there is no possibility to upgrade it to UVO, unfortunately.
Since this old infotainment system requires me to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot to get live traffic updates, I'd rather use Android Auto, which is standard, as is Apple CarPlay. Higher trim cars get the 12.3-inch digital cluster, while the lesser models get regular analog speedo and rev counter with digital trip computer display in the middle. It's easy to use. The interior is practical. There is a smartphone shelf, decent storage in the glove box and under the armrest. The door bins are usable as well. Higher trim cars get electrically operated driver's seat with memory function, which is useful when two family members drive the car and they don't have to look for their perfect driving position every time.
Heated seats, heated steering wheel and heated windshield may be a part of an equipment pack or come as standard on higher trim cars. On a chilly day like today, a heated steering wheel is worth upgrading to the top trim. Once you start using it, there is no going back. There is also keyless access and keyless ignition.
KIA Xceed comes in 5 engine variants. There is the 1-liter turbo petrol 120 horsepower, 1.4-liter turbo petrol 140 horsepower, 1.6 turbo petrol 204 horsepower, as well as the 1.5 diesel 115 and 136 horsepower. The base petrol and base diesel are manual only. The more powerful variants get a choice of a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed DCT. There is no all-wheel drive option. There is going to be a PHEV, but that's also going to be front-wheel drive only. Under the bonnet of this test car is a 1.4 turbo petrol mated with a 7-speed double-clutch transmission. Kia promises around 6 liters per 100 kilometers combined WLTP. We get a less conservative value in Poland for some reason, but I still got more, about 7.5 liters per 100 kilometers driving Miss Daisy, about 8 liters driving normally, mainly extra-urban.
I will admit I wasn't expecting much from the Xceed in terms of ride and handling, but I was pleasantly surprised. Compared to the somewhat boring Ceed, the Xceed feels more agile and quicker, even though factory data shows otherwise. Perhaps it's a matter of the powertrain and suspension setup, but the Xceed is quite rewarding through long, sweeping corners. The tighter the band, the less enjoyable it is. Despite the official steering ratio figure being 12.7 to 1, which is quite quick, a roundabout feels like too much work. It's probably because the steering is quick only initially and slows down when you turn the wheel further. I experienced something similar in the Kia Optima a few years ago. However, on a moderately challenging road, you can enjoy dynamic handling, further enhanced by using paddle shifters. In sports mode, the double clutch transmission shifts effortlessly and smoothly.
The rear suspension is multi-link. There are McPherson struts in the front and hydraulic bump stops. They are standard across the line, but only in the front. If hydraulic bump stops sound familiar, that's because Citroën uses them in the C4 Cactus and C5 Aircross, but both in the front and in the rear. Basically, the rubber bump stop floats in hydraulic fluid within the shock absorber, which helps absorb bumps better. Hydraulic bump stops are also supposed to enhance reaction to the steering inputs and improve chassis stability, says Kia.
Besides the hydraulic bump stops, the rest of the elements of the independent suspension are more or less the same, like in the other Ceed family models. However, with higher ground clearance, the Xceed gets softer springs than the hatchback, which is supposed to improve comfort. Soundproofing is average. Visibility for this body style is surprisingly good. You can see much more through the rear window than you'd expect from the way it is slanted. There is an annoying beeping lane departure warning system and a decent park assist feature.
It's not as advanced as the one in the new BMW 1 Series, because you have to select the type of parking and decide on which it is supposed to scan for parking spots. You also have to change gears and control the accelerator and the brake. Premium cars can usually do all that for you, but it's better to have park assist than not have it at all. Regardless of the trim, there is no 360-degree camera, which you can get in the Mazda CX-30. Reversing camera has relatively low resolution, and at night it's hard to see anything at all. Another night problem is the interior lighting. LED lighting is available only on top trim as well as an option on higher trim models. I know we all have phones with torches these days, but if they can fit an LED light in a phone, they sure as hell can fit a couple more LEDs in a €25,000 crossover. Prices of the Kia Xceed start at €21,400 for the 1-litre 120 horsepower petrol manual, a mid-spec car with proper sat-nav and the exclusive pack, which includes things like electric tailgate, reversing cross-traffic alert and smart key, and the 40-20-40 split back seats, comes at about 32 grand. This test car would probably be about €29,000. A comparable Mazda CX-30 comes at about €30,000, and a smaller Volkswagen t-roc will cost significantly more than €30,000. However, both Mazda and the Volkswagen can be ordered with all-wheel drive.
So who is this car really for? I'm lost in Kia's model lineup. There's the Sportage and the Niro, and now there's the Xceed in the middle. It seems as if Kia was doing focus group testing with cars already in showrooms. I guess this car is for someone like me who's too old and fat to squeeze into a hatchback and who can't be bothered with SUVs because they don't add enough value to the proposition of owning a new car. And I have no doubt the Xceed will sell, even though I can't fully understand it. And how do you like the Xceed? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe, rate and share this video with your friends who may be looking for a new car. New episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.